major or highly requested component is the graphics card, aka the GPU, aka a video card. The arguably most expensive and significant part that'll define your setup and your experience as a PC gamer. But alas, it's not the most important. Your system or your build is made up of more than just your PC. It's your chair for comfort, desk for space, and things like your mouse, keyboard, or headset, and the one piece that truly brings it all together, your monitor, which completes the entirety of your setup. But you don't need an expensive graphics card if you're not targeting a high-end experience. And even if you are, you still don't need an expensive graphics card to enjoy PC gaming. And well, here's why. Your monitor, which is a critical part of your setup and essentially serves as the window to your PC soul and the kind of games you want to play and how you wish to play them, will determine your GPU type and how much you'll need to spend. From your CPU to your motherboard, the idea is to build around your needs and, well, not your budget. The most common and popular resolution remains to be 1920 by 1080p with 75Hz monitors clocking in at just over 100 USD, making the standard super affordable and capable to run most modern games. 1080p native or any resolution for that matter is king and provides enough pixel detail to do what I say, quote, wow the jaw, end quote, and impress graphically in both older and new games. And while you have the ability to adjust graphic settings on the fly, say from medium to ultra, but somewhere in between both settings is a happy medium that can complement your refresh rate and your native resolution. Sticking to those exact needs, you then target a graphics card that would be an ideal pair with your monitor. You're not buying the best graphics card with your budget, you're buying the right graphics card with your budget. It's not a matter of which one should I buy as much as it is which one do I need. Adding a dedicated graphics card to your PC will account for roughly 50% of the total cost of your build, and adding one to an already built system will improve its value alongside increasing performance. Knowing what that performance looks like or should look like is, well, a highly targeted, customized experience. Consider the games you want to play and how detailed you want to play them. A fitting FPS average is one that meets or exceeds your monitor's refresh rate, in my honest opinion, or a gaming experience that far exceeds the graphic detail and FPS output of a console. But what can truly be deemed playable will vary amongst most gamers. You may want to play games that aren't graphically demanding or that can be run on lower end hardware that offers value alternative options, which will then in turn also allow you to save money or invest in other areas of your build, like more memory or faster storage, vice versa, or a combination of them both. You could even opt for a higher class or generation CPU, say going from an i5 to an i7 or AMD equivalent. But depending on your gamer type, your needs or expectations will be targeted, chosen specifically or especially for you, the games you play, with thousands to choose from, both free and paid, as a PC gamer. And your monitor with resolutions beyond 1080p, like 2560 by 1440p for example, becoming more and more practical, and 4K at a hardware level within range for most entry-level to high-end systems. You don't have to game at those resolutions to get the best out of PC gaming. They often tend to bring out the best of PC gaming, that is, once increasing both your resolution and refresh rate, but your needs are likely going to be specific, custom tailored, and built for your experience. And so to truly meet those needs, your next step would be to shop for a graphics card in your price range that would meet or exceed your expectations. That way, you're not overspending or underspending, buying a card that's too fast for your monitor or CPU, which could introduce screen tearing, ghosting, and other possible bottleneck woes. Or even worse, a graphics card that's not fast enough to run your monitor or lacks the necessary amount of VRAM to satisfy your desired level of graphic detail in your games. That's why it's objective prime or mission critical to shop for a graphics card that suits your needs first and then your budget. It's better to aim under and still hit your mark versus going over and missing the target altogether. It doesn't have to be expensive to be great, but it should be good enough for your experience, a task that can be accomplished on budgets of all shapes and sizes.
Mother Miranda, if it's for you, I'd do anything.
I'll just be taking this.
Wait. What are you doing with Mother's special child?
She's not hers.
Oh, you have something to say?
What do you mean, mother's special child?
Mother wants her baby back.
Don't screw with me!
Wait, please. If you take it, then the others will laugh at me. But if I do better than them...
What do I care?
Wait, just a little longer, please.
What's so funny?
You're stupid. You talk too much. It's all over. I plugged away in.
What do you...
This is my territory. I won't let you leave.
Shit.
And then there's this to consider. The scenario where you want to invest in an expensive graphics card to get the most out of your gaming experience, this realization should come or have come at a moment when you were deciding on the kind of monitor you were going to buy, or you were going forward with one you already had. Maybe 60 or 75 hertz won't cut it for the fast-paced games you want to play, or you're over 1080p and ready to make the leap to the next step up, that being say 2560 by 1440p or possibly even 4K. But most importantly, seeing your games at their best graphic fidelity or maxed out is the level of detail you are targeting. And well, your graphics card of choice to fit those needs still wouldn't need to be expensive to be great, just be once again good enough to meet your expectations. This will cost you more, largely in part due to raising the bar with a higher res monitor and faster refresh rate. But research your games will assure that it's money rightfully spent and will suit your targeted needs. One way of getting started with that process, especially if you haven't bought your monitor yet, is to look at the game's minimum and required specs to run the games you're interested in playing either now or in the future. With future games that haven't come out yet. While not always definitive, they are a good starting point to give you an idea of the bare minimum specs you're going to need in order to play any particular game you're interested in. This could also include the amount of VRAM required to run the game at 1080p ultra settings, or CPU architecture and generation needed to play at those settings as well. Again, they're not always spot on, but are pretty indicative of the best and worst case scenario in terms of the hardware you'll need to build around. This also applies to buying a pre-built gaming PC as well. Nothing wrong with going this path versus building your own system, although I recommend at one point or another as a PC gamer you familiarize yourself with the process and prepare for maintenance or future upgrades. The building process in PC hardware can be confusing at times. That's why I recommend you subscribe to the Inside the Lab channel with notifications turned on to see more PC gaming videos like this one here, because while not all that common, failures and anomalies can occur within your hardware. Some or most will require you to have your hands in the case, so it's best to be prepared in the event your cooler or PSU fails, or you're ready to upgrade your graphics cards or add more storage. But the same logic applies here, that is when buying a pre-built gaming PC. What I recommend is getting a system with the fastest CPU your money can buy, and so that it's suitable for most resolutions, with the graphics card being the most convenient upgrade path to introducing more performance. Some pre-builds may not even come with a dedicated video card or graphics card, relying simply on onboard or integrated graphics for video out. Not all CPUs come with onboard graphics, and the ones that do typically cost a little more than the ones that don't. And while yes, APUs have made leaps and bounds in the last few years and can be ideal for certain setup and scenarios with the potential to serve as a play and save option, you're typically limited to 1080p medium settings at best, depending on the game, and an FPS similar to that of a console. This perhaps could be a short-term solution to a long-term problem should you want to jump into PC gaming right away with building a system on a focused budget and then saving up to add a graphics card, thus fulfilling your gaming PC a little bit down the road. That future GPU upgrade doesn't have to run 4 digits or more to get the job done. Embrace the term budget or value oriented instead of looking down at hardware branded as such with obscurity. But labeling an object or piece of hardware expensive ignores the fact that expensive isn't necessarily a relative term amongst PC enthusiasts. There are levels to PC gaming, each with barriers of cost to entry too high or too low for many. This is the reason why there are hardware classes. Motherboards not all made equally, but all equally made the same. Graphics cards far off in price, but not that similar in performance. What may seem like a lot to you may not be that much to me, and that's because the real value being measured here is need.
Gas is closing in. Relocating the safe zone. Enemy UAV overhead.
Like, you need to research the games you want to play and know how you want to experience them. Know your hardware, know what you're targeting, know what you need to put into your system so you know what to expect to get out. PC gaming has a ton to offer, but it takes a little work to get there. From games ran in an FPS average of 200 plus or more, to every bit of detail squeezed out and every pixel rendered on screen, the purpose is to experience video games in their best possible form. And the truth is, you don't need an expensive graphics card to enjoy PC gaming. That concept exemplifies the notion that good isn't great enough unless it's a product that's been deemed pricey, alienating the purpose and role value alternative graphics cards play for gamers on the platform. Graphics cards being sold on both the new and used market, whose existence answers the question itself as to why you don't need an expensive one to enjoy PC gaming. It is the most sought after component when building a gaming PC. It's the first part most users state when sharing their specs or their hardware, and yet while it'll account for half your total build cost, it's still not the most important. That award goes to your monitor, the window to your PC's soul, the one component you're going to spend most of your time piercing into. One costs you more and the other is more costly to your experience as a PC gamer. That's why I recommend that one, invest in your monitor first and then your graphics card. And somewhere in between or during that phase, you'll discover your gaming type, the games you like to play, and how you like to play them. That starts with your monitor. Your games, rather that be at high settings or ultra, 60 Hz or more, and experience them how you see fit, ends with your graphics card. Your CPU and RAM will certainly play a role to a certain extent, but none more impactful than your monitor and GPU when targeting a certain level of detail or quality in your games. Neither of the two has to run you an arm and a leg in order to have a solid PC gaming experience. You can use outlets like the used market to save even more money and find deals on new and used hardware sold at a discounted price. I did a video on this subject a ways back, but you can find it here in the cards and link down in the description box below. I also ask you to hit the like button for me while you're down there and subscribe to follow the channel with the notification bell turned on if you haven't yet. But the 1080p 60 FPS standard doesn't hit as hard as it used to in terms of cost. In fact, that criteria is attainable now more than ever. And while games still look impressive at 1080p and run smoothly at 60 Hz or more, the fact of the matter is you don't need an expensive graphics card to enjoy PC gaming. One certainly helps, but it is by no means required. Your first step in the planning phase to ensure a memorable experience is to build around your needs and then buy around your budget. You may not need a 2-slot or 3-slot graphics card, or you may only need a unit with less than 8 GB of VRAM because you have no aspirations of gaming beyond 1080p ultra settings. Personally, I game at 21:9 aspect ratio at 3440x1440p 100 Hz. So when it comes to my experience as a PC gamer, I tend to skew towards cards that can power that resolution and refresh rate. Although I will admit recently I've enjoyed gaming at 4K as well, depending on the game. But tell me what's your preferred gaming resolution down in the comment section below. But these would all be goals or targets that could be hit with a graphics card all up and down the pricing stack, not just the costly ones. Especially if you were targeting the entry-level 1080p 60 Hz standard, a glorious resolution and refresh rate that stood the test of time. But the purpose of this video essay was to break down any barriers or beliefs that an expensive graphics card is required to get the most out of PC gaming. To inform, not to discourage, otherwise that is quite the contrary, that the best graphics card you need is the one best meant for you. And to learn more about PC gaming, watch this video here on the screen, join our community by tapping the round icon below and subscribing to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one. So until then, be easy.